All right. Shalom, family. It's your brother Kanaiba coming at you once again with part 2 of this video series, which is titled Bacchus, Bacchanalian Rites, White Parties on the Left-Hand Side? Question mark. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick back up where we left off at in part 1. And where we left off at in part 1 is we left off with this particular painting right here. Okay. And remember I said to the right of this particular painting, this is what seems to be what we read about known as maenads, the women in this particular painting. Maenads or bacchanals, right? So this is where we're going to pick up at, okay? Remember I told you we're going to go back and deal with what the definition of maenads and who they actually were, these particular women, okay? So let's actually get into that, all right? So we're going to go back to this particular article and we are going to go towards the bottom and we're going to read about the part where it talks about the maenads, okay? Let's see, I'm going to start right here. It says, and his followers were goat-footed satyrs and maenads. Okay, so these were the followers of the Bacchus. Okay, and notice it mentioned maenads, right? Now it's about to tell us who the maenads were, what they did. It says, wild women who danced energetically during his festivals. Okay, so those are the maenads. That's what they did during these particular bacchanalian festivals. All right. So with that being said, what I want to do now is I want to watch a snippet of an interview that this particular sister did. Her name is Adria English. She did an interview on the show called Unwind with Tasha K, right? And this sister, Adria English, she actually used to work for Diddy. Okay, she was a part of his event staff for his white parties. Okay, so and she's gonna explain one of the duties that she had to do when she was working at the particular white parties, at these particular white parties, her and other sisters. Okay, that was of course a part of the event staff, right? So you're gonna notice what she says actually lines up particularly with what we just read about maenads. Okay, so let's take a listen here. All right.
Now, Diddy had 3 different stages set up in his mansion. So it's a stage right here, but in his house, not a big ass stage, but just elevated. He wanted us to be, it's 3 of us. So he had Tamiko right here, me right here, me right here. Our job was to dance for 45 minutes. And then it was literally our job to get off the stage and go drink. When we drink, I felt fucked up. I felt so fucked up because I was paid as a stripper at Larry. I know what it takes to be drunk. I felt way more fucked up. I ain't gonna say nothing about it,
So remember what we just read about maenads and what they had to do at these bacchanalian festivals. Remember the maenads, they said, were wild women that danced energetically during these festivals, right? So what the sister just said right here, she said it was her job and the 2 other women that also worked for Diddy, it was their jobs to dance for 45 minutes. Okay, who dances for 45 minutes straight? Okay, but they had to dance for 45 minutes. It takes energy to do that for 45 minutes, okay? But they had to do that and then immediately get off of stage and drink alcohol. Okay, and as we know, the Bacchus is one of the things he's known for as being a so-called god of wine. Okay, so it makes sense, right? And it makes sense because to me, and this is just my critique, I could be wrong, but this seems like the attributes of what we just read about, known as a Maenad. Okay, now am I saying that's what her and these other women were? Who knows? I'm not saying if they were or weren't. This is just simply my critique. But based on what we just read, okay. But now let's move on from this and let's take a look at something else here. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this particular book, or encyclopedia rather. And the title of this encyclopedia is called A Dictionary of Greek and Roman Antiquities. Okay. And it was written by a Sir William Smith, as you see at the top, right? And the publisher, or the publishing company, is John Murray. Okay. And of course, this was written back in the 1800s, right? So in this particular encyclopedia, there's a section titled Bacchanalia, and that's what we're going to read here, okay? So let's start at the top here. It says, Bacchanalia, the worship of Dionysus, whom the Romans called Bacchus, or rather, the Bacchic mysteries and orgies, Bacchanalia, are said to have been introduced from southern Italy into Etruria, and from thence into Rome. Okay? It says, where for a time they were carried on in secret. Let's pause right there. So, let's bring it up to date. When you look at these quote-unquote Diddy white parties, or these white parties in general, to an extent, they are in secret. Okay, because everybody is not quote-unquote invited. Okay, it's only for a select group of people. And it's still a mystery as to what specifically goes on at these white parties. It's still a mystery. That's why, again, it's in secret. Okay. So it goes on to say, and during the latter period of their existence at night, the initiated, according to Livy, which of course Livy was a Roman historian. Okay. It says, did not only indulge in feasting and drinking at their meetings, but when their minds were heated with wine, they indulged in the coarsest excesses and the most unnatural vices. Let's pause right there. Okay, is this not starting to sound like one of those white parties? When you listen to all the accusers and people that's starting to stand up, they're telling you all the things that's, what they've seen go on at these white parties. And the description sounds a lot like what this Roman historian was saying about what happened in the Bacchanalia. Okay, it's sounding very, very similar. Okay, and we want to look at this part. It talks about their minds being heated with wine. There was a lot of excess of wine drinking, getting drunk, being drunken. Okay, so with that being said, let's look at this particular clip of Diddy, I want to say back in the early 2000s, describing one of his infamous parties. Okay, let's listen up.
You're legendary for the parties that you throw. Mm-hmm. You throw a great party.
I'm a legend, baby, for a whole bunch of things.
Yes. Huh?
Yeah. You got a live show. You got a live.
I have a live show now. Yeah. You're a killer party. What's the ingredient? What do you do to make just an amazing killer party? Because mine, okay. I put out the Cheese Whiz. I put on the Paula Anka. No one comes. Wrong move.
See, you're doing the wrong things.
Wrong thing. Okay.
This is what you need to do. Women, beautiful women, of course.
Beautiful women.
Beautiful men for the ladies, of course.
Wouldn't it be better if there weren't beautiful men there? There were just a lot of beautiful women and then just the guy?
Now, commenting on what he just said, okay, when you look at the Bacchanalia, and I believe we're actually going to read this in the encyclopedia article that we're on, but originally in the Bacchanalia, it was only open to women originally, but later on, it became open to both women and men. Okay, but originally it was just women. So it's kind of curious that he said that. Okay, but anyway, let's continue.
No. You have to make. There's enough ladies to go around. You have to give the ladies what they need too. You know, you have to take care of your women.
Take care of the ladies, okay?
Ladies, yeah.
Gotcha. That's good.
Can't force the situation.
Right. What about...
Can't force a square peg into a round hole.
That's the story of my life, my friend.
Yeah, you can't force a square peg into a round hole. Maybe that's something you need to tell to the LGBTQ community, because they obviously can't understand that concept. And from what I'm hearing, the stories I'm hearing, Mr. Diddy, you don't understand that concept as well as you saying yourself. Yeah, but even that comment is, this whole interview is just weird. Okay, but yeah, it's a lot in this interview that makes you think about the Bacchanalia. Okay, so let's continue listening here.
Okay, you need that.
I wish you had told me that a long time ago.
Well, I'm here now, brother. It's not too late.
What about like celebrities? You have a lot of celebrities
Okay,
at your...
first you have to listen. I'm giving you the menu, okay? Let's just take things slow, okay? Okay, it's all right. He's learning. He's learning,
and I'm slow.
Yes.
I'm very slow.
Check it out. This is my man. We go way back, but he hasn't told y'all that. We'll talk about that later.
We go way back.
Way back. But check this out.
When was that, by the way? We'll get to that later. All right.
Okay. Now, we need alcohols.
Right.
Alcohols.
Right. Not just one alcohol.
Alcohols.
Right. Just
Plurals.
different blend. You need
Blends.
the ladies. You need the booze.
You need some water.
For watering plants?
No.
What?
So Diddy is giving us the ingredients to this particular party. Okay, he said you need women, you need alcohols, plural, right? Then he said you need water. Okay, I know, right? He said you need water. So now Conan O'Brien is looking at him like, what you need water for? You watering plants? But now this is just my critique, but there's a reason why he mentioned water. Now, of course, on a two-dimensional level, Diddy is about to explain the water. But when we go back to that encyclopedia, I'm going to point something out. Okay, so keep this part in mind about the water. Okay? But anyway, let's continue.
No, I don't know if guys have noticed this. Like, a lot of ladies drink water at parties. They just, so if you don't have what they need, they're going to leave.
Right.
Got to keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
It's a little kinky, but
yeah.
Rock with me, but just...
So he mentions that you got to keep the women there. Then immediately after that, talks about you got to have locks on the doors. What? And then that's what Conan O'Brien said. This is starting to sound dangerous because he even caught on to that. Okay, and this is back in what, the early 2000s, 2001. This is before Diddy was even being accused of this stuff. But Conan picked up on that real quick. And then how did Diddy respond? He said, yeah, it's a little kinky, you know. What? Oh, boy. Okay, but look, this is some of the stuff that Diddy is being accused of. Okay. Sex trafficking, things like keeping women against their will, making them do things against their will, things of that nature. Okay, this is just some of the stuff he's being accused of, right? So this ain't sounding good, Diddy. Okay, but anyway, let's continue.
Right.
Check it out. You need a lot of heat. A lot of heat. Yeah.
Heat. You mean that physically the place has to be hot?
You don't have no air conditioning.
No air conditioning.
No.
Why is that?
Heat affects the alcohol, and it also affects, like, you know, everybody gets a little bit more comfortable and loose. Builds up a nice little sweat.
That just sounds disgusting.
Now, don't quote me on it. Okay, don't quote me on this, but I've been hearing things about what he just said about the heat and how it affects the alcohol. It's not so much the alcohol. Now, this is just what I heard. Don't quote me on it, but the heat actually affects some of the quote unquote drugs that they would actually put into the alcohol to get the people there, you know, like, I mean, drunk. Going back to the sister that we watched in the interview, Adria English. Remember, she remember how she was talking about how drunk she got, but it was unordinarily drunk, because she said she used to be a stripper, so she knows what it takes to get drunk. But she said when she got drunk, she was all effed up. Those was her words, like it was abnormal. Okay, so now we kind of understanding why she said what she said. Okay, but don't quote me on that, but that's what I'm hearing. All right, so let's finish it out.
What are you talking?
Depends on the way you look at it.
Depends. Oh, people
Yeah.
start getting it gets kind of sexy. Is that what you're saying?
There you, sexy, new word for you.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So we're going to pick back up where we left off at in this particular portion of the encyclopedia dealing with the Bacchanalia. Okay. I'm going to start back off at the part right here where it says the initiated. Okay. It says the initiated, according to Livy, did not only indulge in feasting and drinking at their meetings, but when their minds were heated with wine, they indulged in the coarsest excesses and the most unnatural vices. Okay, that's why one of the things that's known for the Bacchanalia is known for is orgies. Okay, unnatural vices. Okay, so it goes on to say this. Now watch closely. It says young girls and youths were seduced. Okay, now when we look at the charges that Diddy is being brought up on, one of those charges is what? Sex trafficking. Okay, and it's been alleged that a lot of these are young girls. Okay, and not only that, look at what Livy said. He talked about not only was it young girls, but youths were seduced as well. Youths meaning underaged. Okay, which leads us to our next clip that we're going to look at from Miss Candace Owens. Okay, she actually did a show speaking on this particular topic, and she talked about how Diddy's late ex-wife, Kim Porter, actually wrote memoirs about Diddy and these white parties. And not only memoirs, but I believe she actually had video evidence that would condemn him. Right? And it's just very curious that, you know, right after she wrote those memoirs, I believe she actually mysteriously died of pneumonia. Okay, at the age of 47 years old. Okay, but within those memoirs, she talks about a specific musician, entertainer that was underage that Diddy took to these white parties and dealt with this individual. Okay, so without further ado, let's actually get into this particular clip from Candace Owens. Okay, let's listen to this.
But the memoir says that when she watched back the tapes, she was so shocked because there were things, quote, some of the tapes had things I would have never expected. The gay parties are one thing, but the young boys.
Did you hear that? Gay parties and young boys. Okay. This is starting to sound an awful like the Bacchanalia. Okay, this is the stuff that the Bacchanalia was known for. Okay. And it makes all the sense in the world, even going back to that first clip we watched of the sister Adria English. Before she actually started working for Diddy, this is why you got to go watch that full interview that she did on that particular show. Before she actually started working for Diddy, it all stems back to her ex-boyfriend, who was a model at the time. And her boyfriend actually, I think he wanted to be a model for Diddy's Sean John campaign, okay, his clothing line. And there's specific things that Diddy wanted her boyfriend to do to him in order to get the job. Okay, when you actually watch the interview, she explains that, okay? But again, it just shows that these people in Hollywood, they're pansexuals. They're quote unquote sexually fluid. Pansexuals. They'll sleep with anything and anybody. Okay? But anyway, let's continue.
Like the two hip hop stars formerly managed by Diddy and the then 18-year-old pop star, I would have never known. The book publisher is claiming that it was the friends that gave him this thumbnail, the friends that provided this memoir. The friends also provided copies of these alleged sex tapes so that he knew that it was legitimate. And the final entry of the memoir from Kim Porter, before she mysteriously got pneumonia and didn't survive it as a 47-year-old, is her dramatically telling her friends, quote, "He got me," and then calling 911. So this is getting very interesting. And what has come on the heels of this is people unearthing videos of Justin Bieber at Diddy parties now.
Now, before she actually gets into it, take a good look at this picture, because I'm actually going to show you a picture that I found. And it's the same night, okay? But it's going to be before Justin Bieber took his shirt off, okay? He's going to have his shirt and his jacket on, and we're going to look at his attire, okay? But I have a picture of that same night that I found, okay? And it's very similar to the one that she's posted here. It's the same night, same event, okay? But we're going to look at it after she gets through here, all right?
Justin Bieber was obviously extremely young when he entered the industry, extremely innocent when he entered the industry, an industry that he did not quite understand as a boy who just knew how to sing and play the guitar and just did both of those things on YouTube. And then he was scooped up, and suddenly he was a part of people like Diddy going after him and saying, "Hey man, why don't you pick up my phone calls?" There's actually a video of that. Diddy and Justin Bieber looks to be like 15 years old and said, "Why aren't you picking up my phone calls?" And he's like, "Oh, I know you were trying to contact me through people and I don't have your number." And the next thing we know, Justin is at Diddy's parties.
And yes, Miss Candace Owens is telling the truth, okay? Because we have the receipts. We're actually about to look at the clip that she's referring to, okay? I actually found it. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at Justin Bieber's body language, okay? Not only are we going to listen to his speech, how he starts stuttering, but we're going to look at his body language as well, okay? So let's take a look here.
What's up, man? You good?
I'm good. How are you?
All right,
doing?
young brother, everything's good?
Everything's
Selling
great.
out arenas and everything?
Yeah.
Starting to act different, huh?
No,
you ain't been calling me and hanging out the way we used to hang out.
Well, I mean, you haven't. I mean, you try to get in contact with me, through all my, partners and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But you never really got my number, so.
Right.
My
Okay.
number?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you my number.
Yeah.
It's 5.
Did y'all peep the body language and speech once Diddy confronted him about not getting back in touch with him? You saw how Justin Bieber started rocking back and forth nervously and started stuttering nervously. That's a person that's nervous. All you got to do is read the body language. He was nervous, borderline scared, really. Okay, this was a very disturbing video, but this is what Candace Owens was talking about. Okay, and of course, Justin Bieber, like she was saying, of course, the underaged boy. That's 2 strikes. Okay, but yeah, this is what she was referring to. Okay, but again, this is going back to what we read about in the article. Okay, in the encyclopedia about the Bacchanalia, it said young girls and youths were seduced. Okay.
And in this one video, it looks like whatever Justin is doing, and I'm not going to show it out of just respect for the fact that I truly believe that Justin Bieber is a victim. But whatever he is doing in this video with Trey Songz and Odell Beckham Jr. looks highly suspicious. I can show you a still from that video because I think the relevant part is Justin Bieber is not sober.
So moving forward, remember the picture that Candace Owens posted of Diddy and Justin Bieber on her video? And remember I told y'all I had a picture of that same night. Okay, the same event that I found. And but the picture that I have is prior to Justin Bieber taking his shirt off. So I told you we were going to look at his attire. Now, when you look at what he's wearing, look at the jacket. It's the leopard print. Okay, leopard print. Now we know within the craft, the animal print is basically a sign that a particular individual is a beta sex program subject. Okay, that's why when you, for example, when you go back in the day on the Disney Channel, you had Raven Simone and the rest of the girls that was with her. They were known as the Cheetah Girls. Okay, you gotta think about why were they called the Cheetah Girls. Okay, that's subliminal to what they really were. Okay, a lot of times you see celebrities dressed in this animal print, be it leopard skin, zebra skin, tiger skin, or what have you. That's usually a sign that they're beta sex programmed. Okay, but not only that. I don't know if we're going to get to it, but when you look at one of the animals or one of the symbols that's associated with the Bacchus and Dionysus is the leopard. Okay, it's the leopard. And we again, this is just more proof as to what's going on. Now, of course, this is my critique, and I could be wrong. But a lot of times when celebrities take these pictures and they're wearing certain things, it's not by happenstance. It's usually a subliminal message that they're trying to send to others that's within the craft. Okay, so actually let's look at another picture. Same night. Let's move forward. So looking at this picture, same night, as you can see, Diddy's wearing the same thing. And of course, now we're at the point where Justin Bieber, he has his shirt off. But look at who else is here and look at what they're wearing. This is a Mr. Rick Ross. Okay, and look at his shirt. Has the same leopard print or animal print that Justin Bieber had. Okay, but it's on his shirt. Okay, so again, I told you, a lot of times when these celebrities, when they take these photos, it's a message that they're trying to send. It's not really meant for us to understand, the ones that they view as the profane, but it's meant to be a subliminal message to those who are also within the craft. Okay, but it now is curious as to why he has it on too. And it's taking a picture, of course, with Justin Bieber and Diddy. Okay, and again, it looks like they're at a party. Okay, this is just simply something to think about. Okay, but again, going back to what I said in the beginning of this series, this place, America, is the resurrection of ancient Rome. So do not marvel if you see a lot of the same practices that was going on in ancient Rome. Don't be surprised if you see it here in America. Okay? So stand on this topic, because you got to understand, and this is just my critique, I could be wrong, but Justin Bieber and young men and young boys like him, okay, they play a specific role to men in high positions. Let's go back. Let's go back to the time of ancient Rome. Let's go back to the scriptures for just a few minutes here. Okay, and I'm going to prove that point. Okay, because this is looking a lot like what's going on with Justin Bieber and young men or young boys like him. Let's take a look at this. Because what you have to understand, Justin Bieber he's pretty much playing the role of what's known back in Roman times as a catamite. Okay, a catamite. Okay, so let's go to the scriptures and let's take a look at something here. Okay. So, of course, this is Matthew chapter 11 and verse 8. And it reads, it says, "But what went ye out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they that wear soft clothing are in kings' houses." Okay, so for anybody that wants to say that Yahweh Shai, whom the world knows as Jesus Christ, for anybody who says he never spoke about or against homosexuality, you are sadly mistaken, because this is actually the verse. Okay, and we're going to prove that. Okay, notice he says they that wear soft clothing are in kings' houses. He's letting us know what was going on back then. Okay, remember I told you that Justin Bieber was basically a catamite for these men in higher positions, because the same things was going on in ancient Rome. Okay, when you look at this word soft in the Greek, because of course the New Testament was written in Greek, there's a specific Greek word that's used for that word soft in this particular verse. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into the concordance, and we're actually gonna look up that particular Greek word for the word soft. But we're gonna get one more verse in another place that uses the same Greek word. Okay, let's take a look at this. So this is 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 9, and it reads, it says, "Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived." So what Paul is about to do, he's about to list the different people that's not going to inherit the kingdom of God. Okay, now watch closely. It says, "Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers." Now watch closely. "Nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind." Now what I want to put emphasis on is that word effeminate right there. That word effeminate, when you look at this in the original Greek, it's the same Greek word that's used for the word soft in Matthew chapter 11 and verse 8 that we read. It's the same Greek word, effeminate and soft. Okay, so now what we're going to do, let's go to the concordance and let's look up that Greek word and let's see some information on that Greek word. because it all goes back, and this is just my critique. I could be wrong, but it goes back to what's going on, what went on with Justin Bieber and people like him in Hollywood. Okay, let's take a look at this. So now we're looking up this particular word in the Greek. Okay, and again, it's for the word soft and effeminate. It's the same Greek word, and it's Strong's G3120, malakos. Okay, that's how it's actually pronounced. So now let's scroll over and let's look at a little bit of information. Let's get the Strong's definition. Okay, so this is the Strong's definition, and it reads, it says malakos, of uncertain affinity, says soft, i.e. fine clothing, figuratively a catamite. Hey, ain't that what I said earlier? I said Justin Bieber, according to this, my critique, was a catamite. Okay, it says catamite, effeminate, soft. Okay, now we see why that goes. The two verses we read goes hand in hand. That's why Yahweh Shai talked about those that wear soft clothing are in the king's houses, roughly paraphrasing. Okay, because though, again, in ancient Rome, those Romans, what they were doing, those kings and people in high positions, they were taking these young boys and making male prostitutes out of them. That's what they were doing. So do not marvel if you're seeing the same thing here in America, because America is the resurrection of ancient Rome. Okay, let's scroll over. Let's look at the biblical usage of this particular word, malakos. Let's take a look at that. So here is the biblical usage of the word malakos, and it reads, it says soft to touch, metaphorically, in a bad sense, watch closely, effeminate, of a catamite. Watch this, of a boy kept for homosexual relations with a man. What did I tell y'all? Do not marvel if you see some of the same things that was going on in ancient Rome happening here today. Okay, let's read 2 again. It says, of a boy kept for homosexual relations with a man. Okay, let's continue. It says, of a male who submits his body to unnatural lewdness. Then lastly, it says, of a male prostitute. Okay, so now that's just giving you some context as to why I said what I said about what may have happened to Justin Bieber. Okay, and of course, again, it's just my critique. I could be wrong. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna end this right here, and yeah, it's definitely gonna be a part 3. Okay, yeah, because we got a little bit more to touch on, but I don't want this particular video to be too long. It's starting to get lengthy. So yeah, we're just gonna make it into 3 parts, and hopefully that'll be it. Okay, so thank you for your patience. But yeah, we're gonna make this into 3 parts. So with that, and as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh, which is the name of the Heavenly Father, and I do so by Hashem, which means in the name of Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the only begotten Son of the Heavenly Father, whom the world knows as Jesus Christ. And I want to thank all you brothers and sisters for tuning in. I hope this video was informative and edifying. And until next time, Shalom family, and I'll see you in part 3.